Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are back to another recording of Hearthstone. The new expansion is here, so we have a Win 10 standard games and play mode to get a new hero skin, and we also have two other daily quests to do, such as win 3 games with Druid and Hunter, or win 3 games with Priest or Warlock. So we're on our Asian account. Tavern Brawl's already done. This ends in 2 days, so we won't have to deal with that until somewhere around, I guess, Monday, since today is Friday the 13th of April. So I was able, sort of, I can't call it successfully. I was able to use the hsreplay.net to put in one deck for the Asian account that is the best potential deck I could have, kind of, per hero. So these are the decks that HS Replay, of the decks they track, which arguably I think maybe they don't track enough, and I think when you look at this, you're going to see that we're going to have some problems. And of course, the bug that marks new cards as new over and over again is still very much in effect. This might be Hearthstone deck tracker that causes that bug, but I don't think so. We're down to 80 gold, we couldn't afford anything. So when we click play here, here's what you're gonna realize. I actually only have all the cards for Tempo Mage, which is fine if I need to win for Tempo Mage. And I guess I could go and do just like the basic recipe. We need, for instance, here Druid and Hunter. So let's start with Druid and Hunter. Hand Druid is here. This is the closest deck I have to play Hand Druid, and I'm missing all of these. Now this is on standard play, but it doesn't really get any better, I think, to play on Wild on my Asian account. That seems pretty ridiculous. So we have to replace things. We have a 2-mana spell here that says add a 3/2 Trent. So instead we'll take that. We have a 3-mana 2/1 where we could go with a 3/3/1, or 3/1/6. So we'll take that as a replacement. And we have a 3-mana 3/4 at a random 2-cost minion. Part of the problem with HS Replay right now is they're suggesting some cards that are brand new. Let's see, 3-mana 3/3, and swap the attack and health on minions. I'll take that. And so we're having to make some pretty different decisions. Interesting that the pick a replacement 2 offers are either 0, gain a mana crystal, or 5, summon 3/2/2 Trends. Let's see. We have a 4/4/1, gain +1 health for each card in your hand. So, do we want this? Or do we want this? I think I'm going to take this. Next card, we have a 4/4/1, and I guess maybe there was 2 of these. So I'll take Mind Control Tech, sure. Here we have a summon a 1/1 wisp for each card in your hand, versus just gain some mana. And so we'll do that. And so we're really putting our faith here into some weird cards that you normally wouldn't put your faith into. And here we have a 12, costs 1 less for each other card in your hand. So this deck was built around that idea a lot. So, like, a lot of faith being put into Hearthstone right now just to get that deck to work. That was the Druid. Let's look at the Hunter now and see what we can replace. Mid-range Hunter is pretty consistently what they're recommending that I play to get victories. So instead of Wandering Merchant, we could do Explosive Shot. Instead of that, we could do Unleash the Hounds. Instead of this, we could do either this or this. Just go and take it, I guess. And we'll take that. So not as much changing there to get that deck to work. And then we need Priest and Warlock now. And so Priest we need to replace. Spells cost 1 less. We'll take that instead. Let's see. At the end of your turn, give a minion +1/+1. We'll take Knife Juggler instead. Give a minion +2/+2. Gain another bonus. I'll take Holy Nova instead. Who's to say if any of these recommendations are good or not? However, it could be that they're just giving me 2 little random cards, and then Warlock was the last one. And we won't be fixing the other decks until at least Monday when we have a reason. I will take that card because I hate that card, and if I hate it, lots of people are going to hate it. And I'll take that card because that's a very good card. And so we're close to see Warlock. And so then that should fix it. So now we can play Druid, Hunter, Priest, and Warlock. 4 more decks that need to be fixed. The Witchwood solo player expansion. Let's see, it's not even here. Like, it showed up and then it went away. Interesting. It's on the Americas account saying arriving in 2 weeks, but it's not on the Asian account. Alright, well, let's hop into this Druid and Hunter. Since mid-range Hunter is probably the closest one to a victory, we're playing rank 23. We're good to go. We're really playing for wins. Now, on the news side, because of all of the extra recording I've done, the looking at all the cards, the card pack opening video, 150 card packs, which was a little bit, it wasn't 150 plus Witchwood card packs really, it was a lot closer to maybe 100 packs of different variety plus 50 packs of the new Witchwood, which I'm very happy with that decision because I did not like any of the Witchwood cards, but it didn't really help me make any of these decks. You'll also see on the European account, it's the exact same scenario. Nearly all 9 of the hero classes, there isn't a recommendable deck on HS Replay. And that seems crazy. It might be because of a lack of statistics. Maybe more people need to use Hearthstone Deck Tracker for it to work better. Because I think Hearthstone Deck Tracker reports your decks back to HS Replay, and you can turn that option off if you don't want it to. But yeah, as it is, I'm gonna play these and then do this in the hopes of getting exactly that. So yeah, because of all of the extra work I've been doing. I went through a lot of the games that came out on Steam that are just bad games and closed those tabs. But we still have a significant amount of news to cover today. And since we're looking at a desire to get at least 3, but actually 10 victories, yeah, like there's an issue here already. It's just before we even start, there's an issue with how many victories we're gonna have to get on the European and Asian accounts, and then I'll probably have to cheat it on the Americas accounts. It's gonna be a lot of work today. The file's still playable. With Witchwood and Year of the Raven, it's mostly the fact that Year of the Raven has blocked and gotten rid of so many of the expansions. With that having happened, standard play is going to be pretty boring. No more crazy strategies, it seems. I couldn't see any. Maybe people will find some new crazy strategies and I just don't see them. That is totally possible, but it seems like it's gonna be pretty boring. I'm just gonna take Divine Shield and kill this guy, and then do this. Geez, if I was gonna play Void Lord, I should have done something there, shouldn't I? Just go ahead and attack. And then in the turn, Tragic Masters on the chat, and he said I can help cheat on the American server. Absolutely, if you're still around. I'd much prefer to play my fans than play my secondary account, which my secondary account I don't do anything with, so it got three free card packs and 1 legendary for Witchwood, and that's all my secondary account did, and I'm more than okay with that. The Banner Saga 3 is coming out on the Xbox One and PS4 in July. It's kind of strange because Banner Saga 1 came out in 2014, so in 4 years they've made 3 games, which is a little too much. Not enough of a break there. I never really got around to playing the Banner Saga, and now I'm looking at an entire trilogy of games. It's due to launch July 24th in US and 27th in Europe. There's going to be a trilogy bundle. So yeah, I guess that's alright, but that is a blow to morale, I would say, a little bit, because I just wanted to play that game, and they've made 2 sequels in the same time. HSReplay.net, it might be a good Twitter feed to follow if you play Hearthstone. They tweeted out, like, what are some decks that people are playing Baku the Moon Eater with? Baku the Moon Eater is the card that, if your deck has only odd cost cards, upgrade your hero power at the start of the game. And so they put out a special article showing this is what people are playing right now that works with Baku the Moon Eater, which is interesting because certainly would be rather difficult for me to figure out a way to build a deck with only odd cards. They also had a different article, let's see, called the Meta Post, April 13th, the Witchwood Day 1, and it shows a breakdown that apparently, according to hsreplay.net, Paladin is number 1 for the first day at 58.4% win ratio, then Warlock, then Hunter, then Priest, then Druid, then Mage. So that puts Mage at 6th, Rogue, Warrior, and Shaman. Shaman is at a low 43.0% win ratio. The This image is a little bit smaller, so let's go and draw a card. People are playing Hunter class number 1, so any kind of hunter cards, 17.2%. Then they're playing Shaman, then they're playing Warlock, then they're playing Mage, they're playing Rogue, then they're playing Priest, Paladin, Warrior, and Druid. And only like 4.3% of people were playing Druid. So a big difference there between what people were playing and what was actually winning. The top decks for April 13th, and I'm just going to name them so you can look them up on HS Replay, was Even Paladin, Cube Warlock, Spiteful Priest, Secret Mage, and Tempo Rogue. All 5 of which were new decks. So those are the meta decks that you'd want to play, and that's about as much as Hearthstone information as I'd like to get into, because I'd prefer to just move on to other stuff. Let's see. Tragic Master says Shaman's low win rate could be explained by the fascination with Shutter Walk. People just playing Shaman-y to give it a shot. Well, certainly on the first day, I imagine there's just going to be a bunch of noobs playing everything and trying things, and there's going to be a bunch of crazy stuff regardless, and it's going to be a while, I'd say at least 5 days, before we start to see any kind of consistency or real strategies come out. Gamasutra has an article that saying the game A Way Out has sold over 1 million copies in 2 weeks, which is interesting because it's not like the game is very highly rated. It has a little bit of interest, but not as much as I would say Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons had, and frankly the game doesn't sound that good, so selling over 1 million copies might be that they got some lucky sales because there wasn't very much competition when they came out, and on the long end, a year from now, they may be struggling to approach 1.5 million sales. Let's see. I do have to hand it to HS Replay's decks here. At the very least, they do feel like they're giving me more options than a deck I would build. We don't, I believe, have any daily quests today. I'll have to double check, but I don't think we're going to have any daily quests that aren't built around victories. And so anything, if there are any more daily quests at all that are built around not doing victories, and then instead are built around something like playing secrets or pirates or murlocs or anything like that, we'll have to see what those are worth and how often they show up. If all daily quests now are built around victories, that's going to be a little annoying, no? Let's see, PC Gamer has a article, Manage Monster Pulse and then inevitably get eaten in Lobotomy Corporation. Let's see, is this a game? It kind of looks like a visual novel, but does this have a release date and where is it? It's like, it officially launched on Steam, and it was in early access on 2016. Alright, let's go ahead and attack here. Let's see what trick this does. What was that legendary card? Face Collector. Hey look, the little skulls disappear after a while. Echo it. Add a random legendary minion to your hand. Hmm. So let's look at this game. Lobotomy Corporation is rated very positive. 86% of 300 user reviews in 30 minutes in 30 days. I think we've already talked about this game. I think it's already on my wish list. I've hit a point where Steam is logging me out of Chrome every single time, so like trying to see if something's on my wish list has become impossible. Alright, well, there's an endorsement from PC Gamer for a game called Lobotomy Corporation. It's a indie simulation management horror game with gore. It seems like it's probably something like Fallout Shelter with a horrific, gory twist to it. So yeah, I like that kind of crazy game. So speaking of other games on Steam, there's one called Loader that came out April 10th and is 30% off for 69 cents. It looks like a student project. I think that's in an effort to speed up things. That's where we're going to have to leave a lot of reviews, as it looks like a student project. Let's do this. And then do this. And do that. So, yeah. Loader is a terrible name for a game. This looks like a terrible game. It looks like a box pushing game. So I'm just going to close that and move on. Level X is hiring for a technical art director. So if you want to work for Level X out of Chicago, Illinois, let's see what Level X is. Let's see. Level X is a well-funded medical gaming startup. Let me look at their website. So if it's a startup, it looks like it's a interesting. It looks like it's for cell phones. But it also seems like it is a game. And maybe a training game. And you might make some money doing that, certainly. Like if you can convince colleges to spend money on things like that on software. Although I don't really get why this would be a like end user software. There was a Japanese game where you did something like this. The video I'm looking at, by the way, is people removing polyps on the back of a throat. So you're endoscoping somebody's throat and going down their vocal canal and doing just that. Let's see, they apparently have a game called Airway EX and Gastro EX and Cardio EX and Pulmonary EX, which are all kind of the exact same game. It's an interesting idea, but they've got the wrong market and the wrong platform. There almost certainly is a already existing game out there like this that hooks up to a dummy's head that students work on to get the feel of it, and the physical feel is exactly what you're not going to have doing something like this. Okay, let's go ahead and kill this, and then kill this, and then kill this, and then in a turn. So interesting. interesting little company, but not probably not going to be as successful as they think. Much like I'm not being very successful right now. Well, I guess we need to give up on playing ranked right now. We need to just play casual and see if we can get victories a little bit easier. Every second's going to count. Let's see. This. And then this. Minions +1 attack. Do I want 6 armor? The first Sea of Thieves content update is coming in May with a new AI threat. But the real story about this Sea of Thieves content update, which is probably too little too late, I think people have already checked out. The main thing is the client update will be 19.53 gigabytes. So you're talking a good percentage of a 25 gigabyte Blu-ray, which you only do that if you have not programmed your game correctly. Okay. Let's kill this and do that. I guess I shouldn't have killed that, but whatever. I guess if he's out of secrets at this point, maybe I could beat this guy down. So, like a huge update for Sea of Thieves. Meanwhile, I don't know how many people will even bother to download it. Next game we have on Steam is called Nicky the Home Alone Golf Ball. What's interesting about this game is that its backgrounds look rather like, well, they look a little bit realistic. So you're playing as this like golf ball that can make itself explode in different directions at arcing angles, trying to get to different areas. Let's see. Summon a random one cost opinion. If I play this, I die. If I do this, nothing great happens. So we have to do this. Play this card, which then can let me draw a card. Probably should have played that card first, come to think of it. So, yeah, let's look at this game some more. It looks like a real game. It's a bad name. Certainly, it's the only game from this developer. They're asking for $5.99. It's in English and Portuguese, so this feels like it might be just a Portuguese developed game. I can't immediately dismiss this one. So many you can, but this came out the 13th. It has no user reviews, but it kind of looks like it might be something to play. It's not going to be amazingly great. You are just playing as this ball that is working around maps, exploding himself. It doesn't seem like you can walk at all. And you're working around some interesting mechanics, like he's exploding himself through a ceiling fan that's spinning, so sometimes he's bouncing on the fan blades. So it's time to just go the casual and just play. We just need victories so badly right now, it doesn't make sense to struggle with that. Marvel Strike Force developer Fox Next is running a campaign to donate as much as $50,000 to Frankie's Friends, a pet-centric charity that aims to cover the cost for life-saving animal surgeries. I am not 100% sure, like, why you would donate specifically to an animal charity. Like, that works for most people. Most people do like animals. But I think you could probably give to some better known, better trusted charities like Red Cross and get more coverage. Again, this is really an issue where you shouldn't give money to companies so they can get write-offs for their donations to charity, which is effectively what this is. And who knows what kind of kickbacks or scheme is running in the background with Fox Next, if there is anything. You'll never find out. Like, the thing is, the developer is running an event alongside Guardians of Galaxy actor and former professional wrestler Dave Bautista. So maybe Dave Bautista specifically insisted on this charity. That might explain it. And they pledged to donate up to $50,000 depending on how many views a 1 minute long promotional video receives. So it's almost, but they're not saying what the ratio is there. So if it gets a million views, they may go, oh, actually it needed 2 million views for us to give 50,000. This seems not honest right at the front, and it definitely is an advertisement. Like, let's see, a 1 minute long promotional video is effectively an advertisement. So how much extra income do you think a 1 minute commercial gets you to the point where it's over $50,000? Let's see. It would have to be over 50,000 views. It would probably have to be over 500,000 views. I would probably guess they want 5 million views before they give $50,000, just to recoup that $50,000 and profit off of it. If I was just to roughly guess, if I got 5 million views, for instance, on one of my videos, probably would get me $5,000 at most of ad revenue. So take that for what that is. I could be wrong. The numbers certainly could change a little bit. Let's see, what do I want to do? Battlecry adaptive friendly beast. Can't do that, so best I can do is do this, I guess, and do this, and then do this. Moving on to the next article. In what sounds very surprising to me, PC Gamer has an article that a new Bioshock game is reportedly in the works at a top secret 2K studio. The new game is apparently in the early stages of development. And the let's see, the article says, buried within a lengthy Kotaku story on the current less than ideal state of things at Mafia 3 developer Hangar 13 is an interesting tidbit about another 2 game you may have heard of. The report says the top secret studio located next door to Hangar 13 is currently in early stages of the work on a brand new Bioshock game. So there's a lot to question here as far as what is a new Bioshock game going to look like or be. Like, is it something that is completely off the wall like Bioshock Infinite, or have they learned their lessons, and is this just going back to Rapture for a third time? And is it just going to be maybe slightly better than Bioshock 2? Like, it's probably not going to top Bioshock 1, and it's going to have to take some step backs from some of the things that were added in Bioshock Infinite on top of that. And I don't see where you go with this. The rough theory was Bioshock 1 was a commentary. I break it down as Bioshock 1 was a somewhat well thought commentary on Ayn Randian, extreme libertarian, capitalistic views. So that are capitalistic views specifically from an author like Ayn Rand, who came out of a communist country and had such a grudge against the communist country she was in that she was literally worshipping capitalism in her books like The Fountainhead and I think, and what was the other one? The famous one. Well, whatever. And then in the second game was the idea of taking Rapture, which was created originally as this extreme libertarian capitalist country, society, and then converting it into a religious communist society, which isn't a successful communist society whatsoever. Or maybe you would say it was a socialist society, because, yeah, I guess it would be more social society in the second game, because it seems like the government figurehead was controlling all of the assets, where I would say Infinite is probably more of the communist society, because that's an extreme religion, and it's a weird thing because it doesn't tell its story very well, as far as sticking to, is this a commentary on a socio-economic theory, or is this a commentary on religions of different kinds? Because effectively there was religious devotion to Ayn Randian libertarianism in the first game, religious devotion to the Little Sisters in the second game, and a socialist economic system that was barely touched upon, in my opinion. And then there was obvious and extreme religious devotion to the main bad guy in Bioshock Infinite. So what do you do next? Like do you, I guess since we won, we'll just stick with this. Do you continue down this path and try and argue for like some kind of society that has fallen apart for some other reason? Because we don't have a definition for a third type of economic form. Like there are slight variants and slight interpretations on how things should work, but it all basically boils down to, do you believe individuals should own most property? Do you, I guess in pure capitalism, individuals own all property? Or do you believe that the government should own all property? Or do you believe that the government should legislate who owns all property, which is kind of what socialism would be, as kind of the middle ground between capitalism and communism? All of the governments were fascist governments. It's based on my own definition of fascism. Like, they are all one party systems effectively. So you could try to put in democracy, republic, electorate systems like that into the next Bioshock, but that's just going to be a very confusing thing. Like, democracy would be the most interesting thing you could do in Bioshock, is having it where everybody votes all the time on everything. Like, they had some kind of machine on them at all times, and people would turn on you or support you based on your actions. That'd be kind of cool. But that's kind of it. If you went with a republic or electorate like the United States is, where there's electors and people that represent other people, then you would have at least a list of people that you would try to either kill or turn to your side in a game format. So unless they do something really crazy, which I kind of want them to do something really crazy, I feel like if they do make a new Bioshock game, it's really just going to be a continuation of Rapture. It really just has to. You can move it further in time, move it a little bit further in the future, but you can't move it too far, otherwise it's to that System Shock. And if System Shock is the futuristic version and the predecessor of Bioshock, so you can't do that. You could send it back in time, I guess, to pre-1950s era, but I don't think that works too well either. Like, I don't know what you really get from that. Yeah. It's hard to justify having a city under the sea or floating in the air. So if you go back in time, so then you'd have to just have a city on the ground, which is fine, or floating on the sea, which would be fine too. That concept may not even be a concept that's continued. Yeah, so much of Bioshock though was ruined by Infinite. I don't know how you go back and make another one. Let's see. I want to scroll down a little bit more in this article because I do love Bioshock. The idea of a new game is an intriguing little fantasy, but I would have thought saner, more reasonable people would have said no. But then again, I guess this is also probably not Ken Levine. It's probably not 2K game. It's probably not Ken Levine, but instead 2K Games pushing another Bioshock game. And so it's probably similar to the team that made Bioshock 2. And they're probably not going to get too crazy. And they're probably just going to hopefully have bigger levels, better levels. Perhaps, I don't really want a much larger number of weapons or much larger a variety of bullets. In fact, you could probably smooth that down. Having regular bullets, armor piercing bullets, flame bullets, and like what was it? There was electric bullets for every single gun was kind of complicated for a game that was mostly just about running and gunning. I'd want something like a Big Daddy, something strong and that was a roaming boss that really had something were fun little encounters, and Bioshock 2 didn't do as good of a job as the first game, which sucks because the big sister character was certainly an opportunity to make Big Daddies even stronger. I never really played Bioshock on the harder difficulties. It's not super surprising that they would do this since they did the remasters. The article says it's been 5 years since Bioshock Infinite came out, which is, I guess, right on the time. Even if you ignore the fact that Ken Levine left Irrational Games and created Ghost Story Games, and they're about to announce a completely different game. So if this rumor is true, I look forward to seeing how they can do it in any way, with like bigger levels, stronger enemies, faster speed, an interesting story, because you've got to get an interesting story in there. If they make a BioShock game and it's just the most boring experience you could imagine, then that would probably kill any chances of them making another BioShock game ever, at least for another decade. And I don't know how you fix that and ensure you get an interesting story, unless you just redo Andrew Ryan. Since you have the whole alternate universe things, you could have maybe Andrew Ryan as the good guy this time, and like I don't know what else you would do. There's have Andrew Ryan as the good guy, and let's kill this guy. Well, I'm gonna lose if I do this, but whatever. That was completely unnecessary to attack there. That was a bad move. No two ways to look at it. You could try to explain the craziness of BioShock and how they got to a world that was so willing to turn people into splicers. Because that's kind of just... there's a lot of backstory in the audio dialogues about it, but there's also a missing amount of reason and logic there too. The idea of people using drugs to splice themselves up and not batting an eye about doing that, to the point where they start turning into drug addicted monsters, is not super realistic. Although drug addiction is real and people do it all the time, and they don't even get magical powers out of it. But yeah, very intriguing. I look forward to more news, if there is any more news, and this isn't just somebody shooting their mouth off. Meanwhile, Mafia 3, big failure of a game. The Mafia series never been super successful. This, and then this. Next article, Epic apologizes for Fortnite downtime with free goodies. So if you're playing Fortnite, you probably, let's see, you're gonna get free goodies. Which is certainly, I guess, the right way to apologize for downtime on a video game. So PC Gamer has this article: Strip Fortnite is the latest in lazy exploitation on YouTube, not safe for work. Smash that thumbs up for that one kill, one female Viagra. Oh, let's see. Let's see. YouTubers put on an absurd amount of clothing and then either watch a pre-recorded ninja stream or a loud person in the room play Fortnite, typically removing one article of clothing with each kill until they approach take a breath preteens. The possibility of nudity only to start plucking away at smaller and smaller bits of their wardrobe, like shoelaces and socks and hairpins, to stay safely within YouTube's nudity and sexual content guidelines. I don't think that's going to work on YouTube, frankly. Like, I think just the implication and pretending like you're just seductively removing articles of clothing probably violates YouTube's nebulous guidelines. Interesting. So here we have several screenshots I'm looking at of Fortnite players trying desperately to get views. This is the world we've come to. I imagine this is also not really an article that should have been written. Like, PC Gamer found 3 screenshots and 3 instances of something that's not happening very often, I would suspect, because I haven't seen any of this myself. I thought this was going to be more like ElsaGate, where people were animating Fortnite characters to and having them take off articles of clothing, but it's not even that. It's just laziness. Even lazier than that. This does point out a fact that probably should be on every website or just on internet browsers by default. If a preteen, teenager, anybody, any kid whatsoever is searching these kind of contents, there needs to be like a detector that says, it seems like you're trying to find out about sex. How about we push you to an educational site so you learn good scientific evidence and education about sex, instead of you just trying to find, you're trying to watch things that are just not going to be entertaining or informational for you. Like, honestly, Wikipedia is a great resource if you want to see nudity and learn about sex. If you just search specific terms, and there are several other websites that are out there. I can't think of any off the top of my head. Like, there was one a long time ago that was just run by basically a guy, like just a guy who may have been a teacher, a guy who was just trying to be honest and educational, and kids would send in conversations, and it would just be like if you were asking somebody in the newspaper, who you know, sitting in the letters and asking, in what was it, Ask Nancy was a famous news article or something like that. And that website kept growing and growing, and to the point where it certainly helped answer questions, and it showed that most kids had the exact same questions that weren't getting answered. And then that was just an all-text website for the most part. Maybe 20 images on it in total, because it was such an old website that it was basically a forum. Well, moving on. That's gonna be it for this recording. We're not making any progress. I think we're gonna have to try something different. Let's try to make a Druid and Hunter classic deck. Just basic classic recipe next time, and see how well that works in 45 minutes. That's it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. When you subscribe, please click that notification bell. If you want to friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me even further, gift me a game or a gift card on Steam. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening. Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back with another recording of Hearthstone. Today is Friday the 13th of April and maybe we're getting the Friday the 13th bug here, the curse. So, we need 2 victories with Druid and Hunter. We've tried the HS Replay Druid and Hunter decks and we're not really succeeding there. So I was thinking, what if we were to just make Druid and then classic Druid, like play the most basic cards that you could play right now. I don't even have all of these cards, and why is that? It's just because this account is not old enough. Man, you cannot play Hearthstone, like you really can't without these days, without putting a lot of money into it. There's no good starting point. So this one is choose one, do 2 damage, response a minion. I'll take this, and I'll take this, and I'll replace this with that, and take that. And the cards it suggests I don't think are right either. Anyways, so there's close to the classic Druid recipe. And let's see if we can do classic Hunter recipe. No, I'm missing 4 cards on that too. So, we'll take that. Excuse me. We'll take this. We'll take this. And I guess we'll take this instead. And let's try this. So come over here, classic Druid, and play. I got rid of all of my decks. I could go pull them back out, I suppose. But I'm really going to have to think here and try and find something that wins. Or we're just taking a big step to me just rage quitting Hearthstone. Like, or maybe just rage quitting doing the Asian and European accounts. But see, the problem with that is if I rage quit any of this, I don't get the gold. Then I don't do the card pack opening. The card pack opening got a lot of views. The deck rebuild videos and the re-uploads, broken up portions of that will get a lot of views. So, like, this effectively is the biggest example of me selling out, is playing Hearthstone. But I am spending a lot of time and effort selling out when I'm not having a great experience with victories. Alright, moving on to the next story. Rock Paper Shotgun has a story. The Sandbox spin-off of Terraria, Terraria Otherworld, has been cancelled. So it was unveiled 3 years. It promised a more adventure-focused spin-off of platforming building of the platforming building sandbox mega hit Terraria. I almost certainly could have seen this coming. Like, the reason why Minecraft doesn't really have a story mode in it, excluding the Telltale game Minecraft story mode, which is not Minecraft at all, is because if they had tried to put a story mode in it, even 2 or 3 years into its popularity, people wouldn't have been around enough to justify selling another copy of Minecraft. So instead, Minecraft has done the very correct thing, in my opinion, which is to simply just add more features. I don't think I'll probably ever play either Terrarias. Well, probably never or Otherworld because it's not available. But like the 2D equivalent of Minecraft doesn't seem like it's something that would interest me. Let's go ahead and kill this one. Let's move on to the next article. Unreal Engine has an article about how Gunpowder Game incorporated Unreal Engine marketplace assets into the Maelstrom. Notice this title is Incorporated Unreal Engine Marketplace Assets into Maelstrom, because the last thing they want to do is remind you what they're effectively saying is how Gunpowder Games asset flipped assets into Maelstrom. Although the flip part of asset flip is the assumption and the implication that the creator didn't put effort to make sure the assets that they were working with were integrated in a smooth and nice way. Maelstrom, on the other hand, does not look like an asset flip. It looks like it is let's see, it is done correctly. And that's what this article is there's a paragraph here that says, get the right assets to fit your visual style. Make sure it fits. Be critical. Read reviews. Post reviews. Modify and make assets your own. Create original art. And when you do that, you have something that looks unique and professional, and not just a bunch of example things that are not that don't have any effort done to them at all. Moving on to the next article, Gamatsu has Record of the Lotus World 2D side-scrolling action game announced for PC. From the studio behind Shin Megami Tensei Synchronicity Prologue. Man, that's a mouthful. So let's look at this trailer. Hey, I think it's the 30th year anniversary of Record of the Lotus War, and we know that there's another Record of the Lotus War game coming out. So let's see if I do this, and then this, and then kill this, then that, and then the turn. That should be fine. So yeah, it looks like a Ghost and Goblins type game, you know, beat 'em up slasher type with a little bit of platforming, a little bit of collectibles. Yeah, it honestly doesn't look like this game is going to be super interesting or even really that good, but no release date is set. The video I just said is labeled as a work in progress gameplay video, but I mean, I wouldn't have released that video. It doesn't look good enough, and they just keep silencing. Well, let's see if we win. Interesting. First victory is from this, so we'll keep our victories. Since that won, we'll keep on playing with it. Yeah. Next game we have on Steam is called Twilight of Yulestead, and it is from a developer who has released 3 other games. It's 5% off for $9.49. 5% off as on a discount is pretty low. It came out April 13th. Now the problem with this graphics that makes it look like an asset flip is it's just a low like, I use the phrase low polygon a lot. I'm not sure if I want to call this low polygon. This is more a very rounded artistic style where, like, everything is got a smooth pass fixture on it. Looks like it might be a dungeon crawler. Looks like it's an attempt to be some kind of dungeon crawler game. But man, does it not look good. It just does not look visually good. No reviews and no surprise there. So yeah, I wouldn't play Twilight on Yulstead. Hey, well, maybe that's the trick to... Maybe the trick to getting victories is just to stall at the beginning. So now we need a Priest and Warlock deck, and these are the hsreplay.net recommended decks, or at least as close as I could get to them. So let's see if these win. I already talked about the Bioshock rumor of a new Bioshock game. We know there is a new 2K studio that was starting up in California because we saw job listings for it. Apparently this game is codenamed Parkside and it's being developed on the Unreal Engine 4, which I'm not sure if the previous Bioshock games were in the Unreal Engine or not. So that would be a little bit interesting to go about if it goes through an engine change. What does Parkside mean? I wonder if that's supposed to be an implication. It usually isn't at all. Let's see. Like, I would wonder if you're not going to set a new Bioshock in Rapture, you maybe set it on land in just a city somewhere, and you get rid of the crazy city element. Silence a minion? No, I don't see a reason to do that. Let's see. Next article we have is the Gamma Sutra article. Hellblade wins big at the 2018 BAFTA as Edith Finch takes the top honor. So I wanted to get all of the winners here. Let's see. British Academy Games Award winners. Let's see. The winner for Fellowship was Tim Schafer. I don't know what that really means. Fellowship? Like, he ate with people? That's what Fellowship means. He was friendly with people, maybe? Like it's probably something like a Lifetime Achievement Award or something. Anyways, Artistic Achievement goes to Hellblade. Audio Achievement goes to Hellblade. Best Game is What Remained of Edith Finch. A best British Game goes to Hellblade. Oh, so since this is the British Academy of Arts and Festivals, they're going to specifically prioritize their British games over other people's games. That's xenophobic and wrong. Debut game Gorgoa, evolving game Overwatch, family doesn't say family game, it just says families. Super Mario Odyssey, Gaming Beyond Entertainment goes to Hellblade, game design Mario Odyssey, game innovation Legend of Zelda, mobile game Golf Clash, multiplayer Divinity Original Sin 2, music goes to Cuphead, so Cuphead gets one thing. Narrative goes to Night in the Woods, original property goes to Horizon Zero Dawn, and performer goes to Melina Jurgens as Suna in Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. So they really loved really loved the Hellblade. So yeah. The problem with an award like this, an award show like this, where you're just giving out 12 awards, and in this instance, they're not even giving runner-ups, you're not mentioning enough games at all. Like these were all games released in 2017, and there could have been at least a first runner-up, second runner-up, fourth place, fifth place. There could have been some categories. There could have been some honorable mentions. And when you have an instance like this where the one game so dominates people's attention, you then start to lose out on anything. Lose out on being interesting because every award is going to the same people over and over again. War Child's replay Steam sale is on again. This is War Child UK is a charity behind video game initiatives such as the Verdun Christmas Run, Truce DLC, and This War of Mine, The Little Ones, and US based Children of Conflict. They've launched a new program aimed at raising money. It's kind of weird to have a charity working with Steam to make a Steam sale. Let's see. Games like XCOM, UFO Defense, XCOM Enemy Unknown, Civ 3, Civ 5, Worms WMD, Psychonaut Broken Age, Ollie Ollie 2, and Sid Meier's Pirates are all on sale. Let's see if we click here. Is there anything else on sale, or was that everything? No, that's everything. They're 75% off, except for Worms, which is 85% off. So if you don't have Worms, or if you want Civ 5 complete for 91% off, which would still be $12.70, you could do that. It's probably bad for business, but I would like to see Steam just surprise people with sales. It's like, surprise, your product is on sale, because that's kind of how it happens in stores. Half the time, at least, is something is not selling well. It's sitting on shelves. The actual store wants to get rid of it, and because they're losing money is with it sitting on the shelves. Therefore, they just put it on sale. And the original creator of that product is like, oh, well, I didn't know about that. Or I don't really care about that. I've already sold it to the store, so I've got my cut. But because video games are digital goods, it seems like there's more control on the part of the developer and publisher of a game than you probably should have. Now you might be asking, why is it a bad thing for the publisher to be able to schedule, plan, and have a sale selling their own game? It's a bad thing in Steam's case because Valve is not doing its due diligence, frankly, to make sure that people aren't raising the prices of their games, then putting them on sale and actually selling them on sale, quote unquote, for more than they've actually were available previously. And so they're just lying about a sale being on there. And there are some regulations as far as stores to not allow things to be labeled as on sale when they've are actually not on sale. But Steam isn't really regulated that much, and they're even in the real world there's a lot of schemes around that. Like, oops. So this is this card at its best. Yeah, you can probably get away with running a store where you just put like red stickers on half your products and blue stickers on half your products, and then you could say 1 week everything with a blue sticker is on sale 10% off, and then the next week everything with the red sticker is on sale, and then for half of the 52 weeks that it happened in a year, you can have half your inventory always on sale, and that will trick a lot of people into coming in and purchasing something. Just getting them into the store is a major victory for most stores. But that really doesn't have too much to do with video games. Next game we have on Steam is called Cyber Fight. It's from a developer who has made several ugly looking games. It's 40% off for 59 cents. Came out April 12th. Has a 1 review. Let's see. It has an 8-bit looking graphics, and that's not really the problem. The problem with it seems like it is a floaty, poorly controlling, like infinite runner, I would maybe call it. You run and you jump, and that seems like all you do, and collect coins. All-time peak of 3 people according to Steam database. So no victory there. Let's try the Zoo Warlock. Let's see what the 1 review is. It's probably not in English. Like 1 Russian review, several Russian reviews that are positive. 1 negative. Yeah, it just doesn't look like a high enough quality game to even spend 60 cents on. Which is odd saying that, because Cyberfight does, at the very least, have a fully animated background. So somebody drew a background and put some effort into it. A little bit more effort than normal. But it's still not good enough. It still doesn't look good enough to be on sale. Next game we have is called Vandals. I think we've already looked at this game. It's $4.99. Is this the puzzle strategy game where you're sneaking around trying to spray paint things? Yes, it is. So it came out yesterday, April 12th. And yeah, it looks like Hitman Go in every way that I don't like Hitman Go. So, like, I in all honesty, I might have liked Vandals if it weren't for what Hitman Go did to me, as that's such a bad experience. Let's look at the reviews. $4.99 is too much. There's a couple of positive reviews, and that's all they have. It says it's rated E for everyone. And see, PC Gamer, I'm pretty sure covered this game. So I guess I just want to close Vandals and see if it gets some attention away from PC Gamer. Like if some other reviewer site decides that it is worth covering, then I'll come back to it. But yeah, I want to just kind of hold back on that one. I'm certainly not going to shed any tears if I never get around to playing Vandals. It's a shame it's not a Jet Set Radio game. That's the main issue. Alright, Rock Paper Shotgun has an article that GTA 4 is removing some soundtrack songs because they lost the license, which let's see, is crazy. They are going to shuffle in some new songs to replace at least some of them. So probably expect a new patch to cut the old and whack in the new. The Russian pop station Vladivostok FM will take the brunt of the cuts, which will also affect GTA's 4 episodes from Liberty City standalone things. And see, that's always the crazy thing, is like, why don't they have a lifetime license for these songs? Like, I did not play that right. Why are we having to put out patches to remove music? Like, our copyright laws are ridiculous. And interesting, this rock paper shotgun had to put a disclosure at the bottom. Disclosure: I know several folks who worked on GTA 4, including my own flatmate and former RPS columnist. So somebody who worked for rock paper shotgun also worked on video games. Like, nepotism always seems to happen in the video game industry, in the video game review industry. Let's see. I know she also voiced some random crowd lines, but I never heard her. She's out there somewhere in Liberty City. That's the rest of the disclaimer. That's barely a disclaimer, in as much as it is just a rambling comment. Alright, moving on. We have a game called Killer Backflipped 5 from a developer who made Stickman Backflip Killer Zone and Spaceman Adventure Dash and CE Edges. 40% off for 59 cents. It is a Stickman game, and kind of like RPG Maker games, Stickman games are... this one looks like a mobile port too. Let's see, let's give it +2/+2 and play this. Just draw more cards. I wonder if I should just kill this guy in case he has a bunch of spells that could buff that character. Like, I can't justify buying a Stickman game ever. I really can't. It just, from the word go, feels like you're planning on making a low effort game, and this looks like a low effort PC port of a mobile game, and giving it a cynical name like Killer Backflip 5 when there isn't Killer Backflip 1 through 4 does not help your argument that it doesn't help the thought that maybe this one Stickman game is the exceptional Stickman game. Moving on to the next article. Gamma Sutra has an article. For the first time, third-party developers have released games for Tencent's WeChat platform. So Tencent has opened the mini game platform house within its WeChat chat app open to external developers. I suppose this is the equivalent of when Facebook got games. WeChat is sort of the one that is endorsed, I think, by the Chinese government. Tencent is in part, I believe, owned by the Chinese government, so they're certainly trying to make it a popular platform so people can use it, so then the Chinese government can spy on everybody using it. It really is that simple. Like, there's, I mean, I'm not even gonna try and justify or throw a softball there. That's really what it is. And I'm sure WeChat is, in at least some small part, a ripoff of like Facebook Messenger and other things. There was this game that was announced a while ago. In fact, quite a while, which points out some of the weirdness of seeing some of these articles about games, is because that you'll see a screenshot, an announcement of a game, and then 3-4 months later you'll get the release date, and then 3-4 months later after that you'll get the game out, or you'll get another trailer. So there was this game that your gamer was describing as attractive anime adventure, Forgotten Anne, now has a release date. The game is called Forgotten Anne. It will launch the 15th of May for PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One, priced at £15, 49p on Steam, or £16 on console. This is your gamer, so they're not writing it down as US dollars. Now, it is true that Forgotten Anne looks like it is a well-animated, sort of Ghibli-esque, early Ghibli-esque animations, not his later stuff. So you're talking what am I trying to think of? Some of the, well, maybe Porco Rosso era, the one before Porco Rosso, or right after Porco Rosso, if I had them in order. It's been a long time since I've looked at the movieology bibliography of Ghibli. One of the animators for Studio Ghibli died recently. It wasn't very video game related though, so I don't think I looked at that. Miyazaki, maybe it's not Ghibli as much as it's Miyazaki animation too. I could be getting that wrong too. Lapsed anime fan, not able to remember the terms. Anyways, Forgotten Anne looks interesting, is the simple thing. It has a release date, doesn't have a Steam page, not according to anything I can find though, so I'll see if I can wishlist it on Steam. It looks like it'll be an interesting, I think it's mostly a point and click type adventure game. I imagine a lot of people have this chance in which they will get really hyped about Forgotten Anne and then decide that actually it's not the game for them, and that'll turn into some weirdness. Next game we have is a real weird game, and wow, is it weird. It's selling for $595.99. It came out April 12th, and it has obviously no reviews. It is called ADR-labeling game. ADR labeling game, let's read the description, teaches the players the basics of marking dangerous goods transport vehicles. Players can either place the markings on pre-made cargo or load the vehicles themselves. Once the cargo has been selected, the player is tasked to place all the correct orange plates and ADR labels on the vehicle. So, what they're talking about is all the stickers that you would see on the sides of big shipping trucks. You're not driving the trucks, you're just labeling the trucks, and you're being asked to fix this. So this feels like it could have been a testing like software that's been turned into a game And that certainly would explain the incredibly high price in which they're asking for you to pay, is if this was some kind of testing software. I wouldn't be surprised if this was to get you towards a commercial driving's license, where some testing center would pay $500 to have a copy of the software and have people play it to learn and be educated, or some vocational school. But why in the world is this on Steam? And let's see. There's a recent update, Steam version clarification. Steam version of ADR labor game is meant for educational use by institutes and schools, and purchasing this version grants the right to use the software in their education. If you're using ADR labeling for your personal use, we recommend getting the Android or iOS version. I wonder if the Android or iOS version is cheaper. Let's take a moment to look, since I have a phone right next to me. Let's see. Alright, Google Play Store. ADR labeling. And this is from some really here it is. So if you were to buy this game on the cell phone, which this is just the exact same game that's on Steam, so it is just a cell phone port, but I could certainly understand why this would not, why you wouldn't be able to, in a school environment, particularly have people playing games on their cell phones. That sort of makes sense. Let's do this. And then let's see. Oops, lost. Anyway, so ADR labeling game, $6.49 on Steam, on Google Play. $500 on Steam. Why does Steam even allow that? Why do they even allow that? Like, what kind of school would say you can have a Steam account? That's the weird part. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense at all. It's like, you're running a classroom, you're running a vocational school. This would be for people getting their commercial driver's license, so it would have to be somebody who already has a regular driver's license, so at least 18 years old. Why are you buying your educational software through Steam? I'll be surprised if very many people buy this on Steam. This is ridiculous. Like, really, really ridiculous. Like, it really feels like they were just rolling the dice and saying, hey, maybe we'll get one person. If one person buys that game for $500, it's recovered the $100 Steam direct fee. Even if Valve is taking 30% off of that. So $150 out of that $500, let's say, is going directly to Valve for their 30% cut. That's still $350 of profit, minus the $100 of the Steam Direct fee, with also any amount of, which you then also would take off like the cost to port it, which may have been nothing, frankly. Moving on, this is a game that is getting too much coverage. He's the creator of the game, apparently is friends with a lot of video game reviewers, and this is their only game on Valve. Spy Party is the name of the game. Came out the 12th. It's rated positively, 93% of 32 users. It's been in development, from what I understand, for 8 years. So, really long time. Really, really long time to be in development. Particularly when you consider that this looks like it is a bunch of Unity characters. Like, maybe these are original animated characters, but they don't look good regardless. Looks like something that would have looked good in the early 90s. So, like, not 8 years ago, but 18 to 28 years ago, even. Let's destroy this. And double minions health. And attack. The main gist of Spy Party, which has had an all-time peak of 307, which is a good number, but it's a necessary number because it's only online multiplayer. It's also early access, and it's no discount for $24.99, which is really expensive. The main gist of Spy Party, though, is the fact that you have one player playing as a spy and one player playing as a spotter, and so one player is trying to figure out who the spy character is amongst a group of artificial intelligent characters that are wandering around in a scene. The reason this game is probably getting so much coverage is because they've been bringing it to PAX. They have like a secret final game of the Omegathon PAX 2013, Independent Games Festival 2011. So they've been taking it places and showing people it. One early access review here is not worth the price at the moment. Might be worth checking out on a sale, or if they decide to drop the price a bit. A lot of these early access reviews are like suspiciously short. Like one is positive. It's basically Hitman PvP, player versus player. That is, I guess, a decent definition or description of it. But honestly, Spy Party does not look interesting to me at all. But people are talking about it, and people, I imagine, will talk about it some more. It's funny, this Friday is going to go long, but we might just move it to a post-show, come to think of it, because like, if I covered all the news that I have left to cover, because I took some of the news out, which I didn't think that was going to be a bad thing or bite me in the butt, but it seems like it might. Yeah, we might just have some post-show. Moving on to the next article, PC Gamer has an article. CCP Games CEO says he's a big believer in VR despite halting VR development. CCP Games announced last year they were laying off nearly 100 employees and shuttering its VR development. That's not a big developer. What is CCP? It's Eve Valkyrie. Yeah, it's Eve Online. That's what CCP is. Yeah. Just go and destroy this, And this. And then in the turn, I guess. So you really couldn't do much more of a non-article than to write an article quoting somebody saying something that is blatantly, obviously, like, provably false. It's like, you can, I guess, you can dance around the idea and say you're a big believer in something while meanwhile shutting down your own division in VR. But it doesn't have credibility and doesn't have any reason to be written. Speaking of not having credibility, like the Eugene developers, what is it? The developers at Eugene Systems have ceased their strike after negotiations with management came to a standstill. And that's not what you ever do. So, one of the problems with this strike and why it was not in a good position in the first place is the fact that it was kickstarting their strike. So, like, they didn't have enough of a strike fund. A good union, a smart union, would not go on strike unless they had at least 6 months or longer to pay the people who are on strike to not work. At least some reduced amount of money. Often it's like, we'll pay you 2/3 of your paycheck and will require you to stand out with strike picket signs for 2 hours or 4 hours a day. So it's not like it's a pretty good deal to be on strike, but it's not your end goal. Certainly, the end goal is to get the management to work with you. And in a weird way, they're also suing the people. So, like, the lawsuit is still going on, but they, so you're just in a rather strange scenario. Like, so the strike started, when 21 of the 44 employees walked out, so half of the employees didn't even go on strike. So that's a problem right there. Just a really, really badly handled strike. I've never seen a strike handled this poorly at all. But I guess we're not going to really get much more news about this. And their claims against the management was that they weren't negotiating, that they weren't following just basic legally required minimum labor laws, they weren't honoring contracts that they had already agreed to. So it seems like the company is bad. And frankly, if you end a strike like this, you might as well just quit. Because you're all going to get laid off. You're all going to get fired. Like, strike is your movement of last resort. And yeah, you might as well never come back to work. Management isn't just going to conveniently forget that. I need one card that would do 2 damage, or I'm going to lose. I guess I should have given this one +2 health, then I could have silenced it. Another Friday the 13th game has come out. Friday the 13th Killer Puzzle. Your Gamer has a surprisingly a review. They say it's a surprisingly cute horror show, and then it has this new label, Your Gamer Recommended, with Your Gamer's new website, which looks awful. It's just got tons of white space everywhere. it is an isometric, like square-based, tile-based game, best I can tell, and so it's probably going to be a little bit like Hitman Go Again, but maybe I would try it. It feels like this Friday the 13th game only came out and probably was rushed out to coincide with the Friday the 13th, which I believe in 2018 we're going to have 2 Friday the 13th, which doesn't happen that often. We may even have 3. I'm still not a big fan of the Friday the 13th movie series over some of the other horror movie series, so. But it looks like it's a fine game. I'll put it on my wish list. Next article we have Gematsu Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze for Switch. Has a trailer. So we're going to get a new Donkey Kong game, which is good because it's been a while. This is the standard Donkey Kong Country style of gameplay where you have 2 characters usually, Donkey Kong, Diddy Kong, or something like that, and you're running through levels trying to solve things, get from the left of the screen to the right of the screen, collect collectibles. Seems like there's some kind of ice creature that is decided like it's going to freeze some of the lands, and so some of the levels are frozen, but there's also some lava lands and desert beach lands, just jungle areas. Yep, it looks like Donkey Kong Country. I've actually never played any of the Donkey Kong Country games, come to think of it, so it wouldn't be a bad experience for me to play something like that, but I won't get around to it because it's on the Switch and it's Nintendo. I'm sort of conflicted on what you do with Donkey Kong anyways. Rare turned Donkey Kong into the Donkey Kong Country style of games, which are general platformers and just more Mario style games without Mario, with a little bit of a spin to it. The Donkey Kong 64 game, which was the open world game, never really went any further than that. They haven't made any more of those, and it would be kind of silly for them to make a Donkey Kong arcade game like the original Donkey Kong games. So he kind of just ends up being the Donkey Kong crew in general, ends up being characters in, Mario Kart, Smash Brothers, these beloved characters that don't work that often. And anything Kong can exist, so you can always make more Donkey Kong characters. Let's hit all of this. Next game we have on Steam is called Germination. Came out the 13th. Let's see, it's 15% off for $3.39. I'm not really liking the split developer credits that people have started doing. This has that pixely style in its animation, which makes it not visually appealing. Like, it looks like it's a good pixely style, but now I've seen so many bad games that look like that I'm kind of immediately taking the assumption that, let's see, if I do this, I can do this. Yep. 2D pixel graphics comes up to me and just looks like it's bad graphics now. I've just had to raise my standards. All-time peak of 6 players playing it. Negative reviews. There's 8 positive reviews, no negative ones. They're all early access or got the product for free. 7 Steam achievements. And see, the thing about Germination is it looks like it is a fine game that if you were to put on itch, it might be a super successful game there. But that when you look at it against 3D graphics, $60 games, and just a vast amount of junk, I can't justify $3.39 to buy something that could potentially be only 20 minutes long, even if it is polished visually. So yeah, I have to skip Germination. Let's see. There's a game called Gensokyo Defenders for the PlayStation 4 that's going to launch May 1st in Japan. It looks like it is... What kind of game is this? It's a Toho Project fan game from Nipia. You control... Let's see, it's an action tower defense game. It'll sell for 2,160 yen. It probably isn't coming to the West. So let's close that tab. The Sega FES 2018 is teasing a very big announcement. There is rumors that Sega is sort of going to try and re-enter the hardware market by selling like a Sega Genesis Master System Mini. I don't think they're coming out with something that would be the Sega PlayStation 5 equivalent or anything like that, unless maybe Sega is working with Sony to make the PlayStation 5, and I don't see a reason that Sony would agree to that. Otherwise, I would heavily suspect Sega is hyping up this announcement for nothing at all. It's going to run, the live stream is going to run from 11 to 1900 or 7 p.m. Japanese Standard Time, April 14th, which, like, you'd probably have to translate that, but US time, it's probably about 8 hours difference. So late, 2 or 3 in the morning, would probably be somewhere in the middle of the live stream. So I am definitely not going to be up watching that. I doubt it's going to be worth the effort. It's also going to stream 11 to 1800 Japanese Standard Time on the 15th. Let's see. There's going to be several performances that are listed in the schedule. And let me just scroll down this way and see if any of them look like they would be anything interesting. Remember, Sega runs a lot of, like, Sega owns almost all of the arcades in Japan, so a ton of the announcements could be games that are in actual arcade games that just don't show up. Like 1800 to 1830, Persona 3 Dancing Moon Night, Persona 5 Dancing Star Night is the last thing before the ending on one stage. They're going to have a Puyo Puyo Championship, which is a Tetris game that's pretty popular. Shin Megami Tetris. Seems like people are just going to be playing games and live streaming in a couple of the booths. But they're not playing new games, they're playing old Sega games. Which, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Valkyrie Chronicles 4 on one stage. Yeah, there's gonna be nothing at this for the Western audience. It's barely gonna be interesting to anybody but the biggest of Sega fanboys ever. And I know there are a lot of them still out there, but that's not as big of enough of a number as it should be. Alright, if I give this guy +2/+2 and then +4/+4, maybe, just maybe, I could survive. PC Gamer has a article, the best spy games on PC. Let's go through this. Alpha Protocol, Splinter Cell Chaos Theory, No One Lives Forever, Spy Party, getting on that list way too early, Invisible Ink, I didn't even think that was that good. Covert Action, interesting game. KGB, looks like that might be an interesting game, maybe not. Gunpoint, Metal Gear Solid, I mean seriously, are you calling that a spy game? I guess it is. And then Neon Strut. And so this really is just a list so that they can advertise Spy Party yet again. Alright. 4 damage, discard a random card. Let's see. Alright, next game we have on Steam is called AI Escort. It's mixed with 62 of 24 user reviews. Came out the 12th, but the fact that it has any user reviews is interesting. It's from a developer who's made several games, but none of them are rated very well at all. It's a visual novel, and it may not have English in it. It does have English, okay. Like, it says it has nudity, it's a RPG Maker game, and my rule against RPG makers still stand. 40% off for $1.19. And let's see. If we look at the negative ones, there's a long review. Here, just take one sentence out of this negative review. Again, how can you enjoy it when it's filled with grammatical errors, typos, stuff like sentences without spacing, example this, unskipped name sentences like Murasaki Gentleman, a short mediocre story, especially when the original cost $12, where short 1-2 hour games with no redeeming quality usually get priced at this point. Let's see. Deal damage to a minion. Oops. So yeah, a bad visual novel RPG Maker game on Steam. How original. Next game we have is called Melancholy Republic. It is the first game on Steam from this developer for $9.99. I almost won there, so I'm going to try that again. Although, we do need... this will be our last game. As one user review, came out the 11th. It looks like an RPG Maker game. It says it's story rich and cinematic. I don't know how you can claim to be cinematic when you have an RPG Maker game. All-time peak of 7 people on here. Let's see, are there any negative reviews? No, there are 2 positive reviews, but I wouldn't give that too much of too much of credit because it really doesn't mean anything. So yeah, another RPG Maker game that I cannot endorse. What's funny here is one of the recommended games on Steam's terrible. If you like this game, maybe you'll like this game, and then they recommend something completely different that doesn't match at all. But one of the recommended games is D4 Dark Dreams Don't Die Season 1. Season 1 was never finished, and because of that, it is mixed with 61% of the 13 reviewers being positive. I would much prefer to play a crazy unfinished game like D4, made by, I believe, Suda51 or somebody like that. One of the several Japanese crazy game creators. Let's see. Like the recommended review for D4 is a worthy adventure, warning, second part of the game not available. Like everybody knows it's not, or everybody should know it's an unfinished game. Maybe that is the new tag that Steam should put on games: is unfinished game by knowing, buyer beware. Let's see. Next game we have on Steam is called Zig, Z-I-G. It's $5.99. Terrible name. Pretty bad graphics. It looks like a student project of just flying around shooting asteroids with a lot of different colored elements. Doesn't look like anybody has ever played it. It has no reviews. No real surprise there. Yeah, it looks like a fast-paced asteroid-esque game with MS Paint graphics for all the elements. Which we see a game like that almost every week. Like, it's pretty consistent. Let's see. PC Gamer has an article. Thrones of Britannia lets you arrange divorce and murder untrustworthy allies. So, Thrones of Britannia, it looks like it's a strategy game with a lot of buttons and a lot of options, which is probably too much for me. These empire management games. Let's see. Let's see. Total War Saga is the real name. Total War Saga: Thrones of Britannia is due May 3rd, 2018. So it's not out yet. So this article is kind of pointless. Next game we have is called Startup Freak. It is the only game by this developer on Steam. 17% off for $9.95. I feel like this is going to be a startup simulator game. The graphics don't look good. They're pixel art mixed with MS Paint. So zoomed out MS Paint things. There's graphics here, they just do not look good, but there's also a lot of minions and simulations. It has an all-time peak of 43 people, so somebody somewhere is actually playing it. Let's see, this, and this, and then this, 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 this. We gotta just end the turn here. Let's see, 12 Steam achievements, early access. It says it's beta 0.7.0. We have 1 negative review and 5 positive ones. It says the negative review says fun and rather simple build, feels like a clicker game with fewer things to do. I would say there's about 4 to 6 hours of gameplay, but beyond that it's very repetitive. There are 3 goals set for you to reach, and it takes you about 1 hour to do so. After that it's just skipping turns and waiting. There are 3 difficulties, so I'd recommend you start on easy one and then normal and then hardest, just to get a small amount of replayability. Overall, it's a decent game, just don't expect more than 6 hours. So if you go for the 8 to 9 euro to waste to spend, I would do so. Yeah, so $10 for a 6 to 9 hour game that doesn't look appealing to me. I think Startup Freak is an easy skip, even though it certainly doesn't look as bad as some games. Next we have a game called Armor Contest, which, is this in English? Says it's in English, but it's also simplified Chinese. It seems like this is an asset flip. If I was to guess, it definitely feels like this is an asset flip. Can I kill this in any way? No. I guess I could do this. Let's go ahead and play this and attack here, and then the turn. Yeah, this looks like an asset flip of tank games. It says indie simulation. It seems like you're just driving tanks around. And if there was a really good, high quality tank game from a company I trusted, I might play a tank game. Like, sounds like it would be fun. That being said, I'd almost certainly... This tank is raising the Chinese flag, by the way. This is just straight up propaganda, I bet. Yeah, the thing that's gonna kill it is gonna be just bad graphics. Like, maybe instead I should play there's like a Japanese tank fighting monsters and giant mechs game. I think maybe something like that, or there's some RPGs from Japan that are not as crazy as that one. Also, yeah, this is propaganda / troll game. Armor Contest. I would not recommend anybody buy it. It's too expensive anyways. It doesn't look that good. Can we play both of these, or can we get past one of these guys and just charge? One more damage needed. Sure. So if he's got a spell that does 10 damage, I've lost. But if he doesn't, well, okay. The creators of Reigns have a Reigns King and Queen bundle on sale, 63% off. Now, this also includes the soundtrack, the companion book, the interactive original soundtrack, Her Majesty's soundtrack, and the Book of the Lady. So each one of those little DLC things that you may never have purchased adds to the price of the bundle to the point where it's, without me logging in, $4.84 to get the 2 Reigns games. Because I already own Reigns, it would knock off $1.49 of that and probably nothing else. And so that it's probably not even a good sale for anybody. One of my fans was suggesting that I play Shovel Knight, so in a coincidence, PC Gamer has an article saying Shovel Knight has sold 2 million copies, most of the sales on PC, but most of the revenue coming from the Switch, which is to say that Nintendo is giving a better cut to Switch users. So I'm going to have to make an executive decision here. It's going to take forever to get 4 more victories. Yeah, it's going to take forever. So I'm going to have to post-show this, or silent post-show this, or I might not even do a silent post-show. I might instead just play by myself, since we've had so much streaming anyways. I guess it really doesn't matter if I silent post-show or not. I might even play tomorrow by myself. Because meanwhile, we've had 2 recordings now just on the Asian account. We've made no progress whatsoever on the European account, so we need to go over to that. And we also need to, at some point, at least get 1 daily quest done on the Americas account. So it's turning into a rather long day. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a bunch of links down below. When you do subscribe, click that notification bell. If you want to support me even further than doing all of that, gift me a game on Steam. That helps quite a bit. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening. Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and we're back to another recording of Hearthstone. Today is April Friday the 13th, and we're kind of having a little bit of bad luck. We're on the European account, and I guess I need to trade out this 50, which 50 gold now is win a single game with the Shaman, and play Shaman cards. I guess I could do that relatively easy, and then get 10 victories. So we need to get our Druid, Rogue, and Shaman decks playable. And by what I mean playable, I mean actually playable. Because only 2 of what HS Replay suggested as far as decks that were... These were the closest ones that hsreplay.net had to my collection that I could build. And none of them are right. So we're going to have to replace cards and make decisions. So we need Druid and Rogue deck and Shaman. So let's see. This hand Druid deck was the closest one we could play. We need to replace this card. Add this. So we'll take this instead. And take this. We need to replace this card. Why am I replace this card? Let's see. Take this. Replace this card. the graphics are actually glitching. It's highlighting the wrong card. So we'll take that. Place this card with that. And then with that, we'll place a 5-4-1 with this one, yes. And then we'll take this and take this. I don't know how that though. How is a 10 mana card like this getting replaced with Wild Growth? Whatever. So now we have a playable deck for the Druid. And then we also needed Shaman to, like, we're missing so many cards. And that's all this expansion for the Witchwood was for the European and Asian account, is we were opening classic packs of cards, trying to be able to make decks and have a variety spread to build something like this. Let's see, do I need a basic totem? Whatever. And we're putting all of our faith into Hearthstone that they're actually suggesting good cards as replacements, and they're not just generally picking random things, which they could be. Take this. Let's see. We'll take this, I guess. And take this. And take this. And what this is saying is that we just don't have good cards. Really, yeah, that's all saying is that my decks suck so bad that I can't even get on the meta decks. But maybe these cards will prove themselves to be helpful. We've got a couple more to replace. Take that legendary instead of one legendary. We'll take this instead of that. And take this instead of that. So now I should have a workable Shaman deck, although I just need to play Shaman cards. So I also need a Rogue deck that works. So Tempo Rogue, missing a lot of cards. We don't have Prince Kelisith, so we'll take that. We don't have Edwin Valclear, so we'll take that. These cards must have weights internally, because some of the ones that are getting suggested more and more. Yeah, I feel like it would be more varied. Someone want one copy of a minion from your hand. I don't like that Night Prowler card. I just got rid of something I had, so we'll just use Deck Helper to build a deck. The other thing is the glitch of new cards still being marked as new, so let's take a moment to try and mark everything as not new. Like, clearly not new cards. There we go. Alright, that should get us set. We need these victories more than anything else. Playing Shaman cards is easy. I'm gonna probably have to do a post show to get these 10 victories for the 3 different accounts. Like, it's just gonna be a nightmare scenario. Start Druid. We're ranked 24 right now, but I can't even bother to play ranked, so I'm just gonna play casual. Yeah, once I get all the news done, and there's quite a bit of news, and I guess it's a good thing that we're having an overlap of slightly difficult daily quest with a lot of news this Friday. But once I get it done, we're going to a silent post show. It's been a lot of streaming. I streamed on Wednesday, I streamed on Thursday, I'm streaming on Friday, I streamed on Monday. I think I streamed on Tuesday. I may have streamed every day this week, come to think of it. Yeah, I think I may have just sadly realized that fact. There's a game on Steam called Chinese, spelled Chineze. It's an HSK Chinese proficiency quiz trainer. It is from a developer who has made only one other game that also is built around learning Chinese. So, at what point do you call a game propaganda? That is kind of a hard question to make. This game doesn't look terrible. Looks like a cell phone port. You're shown 4 different things in what I assume is simplified or traditional Chinese, and then in English. And I bet there's not very many words in it. I bet it's not that great of an actual study guide. Again, educational software. We saw this a little bit earlier in the previous recording. It's just like, why would educational software be available on Steam? Particularly if your market thought is to sell it to schools. Yeah, this Chinese game is early access. It's $1.99, no discount, no reviews. I'm not going to trust somebody who has like the Unity asset logo stolen and used in their game, which they do. But also, I'm just going to not trust a no-name to teach me a language. I would prefer there to be some credibility there. That way they're not teaching me the wrong words or slightly wrong translations of words. Alright, moving on. PC Gamer has an article. Hunt Showdown's first performance patch promises a smoother experience. What is Hunt Showdown, though? Is this the one where you're kind of in a forest and you're fighting a bunch of monsters, and it's kind of... Yeah, I think it is. I didn't even know that game was out yet. This trailer is not doing any justice. Hunt Showdown went into early access in February. So... let's see. You're a bounty hunter, you kill monsters for gold. This is the game I was thinking of. But it's really crazy that Hunt Showdown is in early access. It should have been a finished project before it was released at all. Moving on, the silly looking game got some more coverage. Mother Simulator. So PC Gamer is giving them some coverage, which I don't like. It really is just a ripoff of Who's Your Daddy. and just looks even worse than that game. It's Mother Simulator's early access. Yeah, I guess the thing about Mother Simulator might be that you're actually doing more things to actually care for the baby than just who's your daddy is, because who's your daddy is just trying to literally stop the other player who's playing as the child from killing himself. Like we see in this trailer, you're actually trying to make milk for the child. I would much prefer a game where you play as a main character who just happens to be a mother. And the sad statement is, like, the closest person I can even think of that I would say that there's a game like that is Bayonetta, and she wasn't really a mother. Like, and that's a real sad statement. Like, it's like the comic book industry where they can't write Spider-Man as being married because because they don't think the audience can relate to somebody who's married or has potential children. Although I guess they're proving that slightly wrong, because right now at least one version of Superman does have a son. There are a couple of games where there are fathers in the game taking care of younger children. Yeah, that'd be interesting. Let's see. PC Gamer has another article that's what happens when Fortnite hits China. Well, it'll probably get a lot more players and a lot more cheaters. I don't really care to read this whole article because it really is just a clickbait title. It's like, oh, we're going to use the word Fortnite. Let's see. What if I did this? Gain 6 armor. And then gain 6 more armor. Now I can deal 6 damage right there. Close the story, move on. We have a game called Supipara, Supipara, Chapter 2, Spring Has Come. It is an anime-esque visual novel. Actually, it looks like it actually is based on an anime, and it is by a developer who's made the game Eden. So, this looks like real anime, magical girl trailer intro with actual effort. Of course, the intro is always going to look better than a lot of the other content, but every single screenshot, I mean, oh, it is a real nice feeling to look at this and see some games come to Steam that have every screenshot looking good. So many games have terrible art style. It's become a ridiculous joke. Every picture, a painting. I'm probably overselling it, and this is probably just a stupid visual novel that nobody, that I would never play. But wow, every screenshot, and it doesn't even have that many screenshots. There's 5, it looks like, where some of the terrible games will make 12, 20 screenshots, and they're all black backgrounds with nothing going on and nothing viewable at all. And this trailer is so bright. It's such a anime opening musical trailer. The characters are dancing around. Every character is getting a name. Ah, man. Its publisher is Manga Gamer, which apparently has put out almost all of the good anime visual novels, I would say. Has an all-time users of 19, came out the 12th, and it's positive with 100% of 22 users rating it positive. Full audio in Japanese, English in interface, and subtitles, but no Japanese interface according to the way they marked that, which that's probably not accurate. Give me the Lich King, sure. Give my minion +1/+1. And give me some more armor. Yeah, it's a shame. I should have played this. Let's see. Since this is chapter 2, it says Supipera won't conclude in a single game. It will be released as several standalone episodes. Fans may freely pursue only the episodes that interest them if so desired. You could say it's a light novel series and an independent stories that develop their own unique personalities all in one, which is an interesting idea. One positive review says, definitely buy if you're a fan of slice of life. Read chapter 1 first. So yeah, this is, now I'm always going to put the visual novels not in my wish list but in my follow list, particularly the anime ones, just because I don't want people purchasing me visual novels to cover it. It won't work well. It just won't. I'll have to read all the dialogue out loud because none of them are going to be in English full audio, and that's not going to be fun for me. But I'm as sold as I could possibly be sold. On that. In comparison, the next game is called Yafti, Y-A-F-T-I, which it's a fake troll game from a fake troller that is filling Steam and still hasn't been caught. Let's see. Here's one that was 2015. So he's been putting out fake troll games since 2015, and it looks like garbage. As one user review, came out the 12th. It's 15% off for $4.24. And the one review is positive, which is questionable. It's possible that this isn't a fake troll game. I may have jumped to conclusions. But it could be just that it is an ugly student project game in a platformer. That could be also a way to describe it. Take one. Destroy all minions with the top card from your deck for each minion's destroyed. How about we do this and then do this. Then do this. Then do this. Alright, we gotta kill at least one of these guys, so we'll do that. And we'll attack here. And we'll attack here. PC Gamer has an article that says Hearthstone's new expansion already has a game-breaking combo. So they have a video of Shadowwook Insane OTK one-turn kill Disguised Toast. So what is Disguised Toast doing? It apparently Shadowwook, which replays all the cards, all the battle cries that have happened. Apparently, it has a way of doing a battle cry that duplicates itself, and when it duplicates itself, it seems like it re-triggers things. Let's see if we can get a better explanation. Here's how it works. The new Shaman Legendary Shadowwook has a battlecry effect that repeats every battlecry you've played over the course of the game, but in a random order. Your goal is to build a very specific pool of battlecries which, when played together with Shadowwook, are so potent that you can kill your opponent in 1, maybe 2 turns. You can do this by playing the following cards. Let's see. Draw 3 cards to get 2 mana crystals. I'm gonna lose here anyway, so let's do this. Do this. So if you play 1 Serenite Chingang, which has the battle cry, summon a copy of this minion. So when repeated by Shadowwook, it'll summon another Shadowwook. 1 Life Drinker, which deals 3 damage to your opponent's face while restoring health to yourself. Either a Murmuring Elemental, which casts your next battle cry you play twice, following by Grumble World Shaker, which will return the Murmuring Elemental into your hand, reducing its cost to 1. Or a Fire Plum Harbinger, which will reduce the cost of the Murmuring Elemental to 1 while still in your hand. In that scenario, you still have to play Grumble at a later time. Once all of that's done and you have 10 mana plus your 1 mana Murmuring Elemental, and you play Shadowwook and your Shadowwook in hand, ready to go. You play your Murmuring Elemental to double the effect of your 9 mana Shadowwook. And at this point, you pretty much won the game because of the Serenite Chingang. The Shadowwook will summon a copy of itself. Because of Life Drinker, your Shadowwook will deal 3 damage to your opponent's face. And because of the Grumble, you'll return the clone Shadowwook to your hand and reduce its cost to 1. All of this happens twice, which eliminates the randomness of the order of the Shadowwook plays out of the battle cry pool, so you're guaranteed to end the turn with at least 1 mana Shadowwook in your hand. Interesting. Unfortunately, I don't have that card. I don't have Shadowwook. I may have Life Drinker. I may have Murmuring Elemental. I don't think I have Serenite Chingang. And I don't think that's going to stay the way that is forever. Alright. That's 1 victory. 1 victory down. Let's keep on going. Next game we have on Steam is being developed by somebody just named Josh. Second game they have on Steam. No discount, $4.99. It's called Time Skip. Let's look at it. Looks like an asset flip. The assets he used look good, but when you look at the user interface, they are very basic life bars with no flair and no art. And I imagine there's not really a game here, that this is some kind of almost walking simulator. They're saying it's a new indie game with stunning graphics and game playing mechanisms. Teleport, create lasers, warp time, solve puzzles. If I could believe this, I'd want to play this game. But I just don't. It doesn't look good enough to be true. There are no reviews for it. See, I'm watching the trailer. I'm seeing lasers. I'm seeing platforms getting created out of the air. It almost looks like it's a game that somebody actually knows how to make a game. But I don't believe it. I really don't. And some of that just comes down to the credibility of the developer. Like when you name your developer Josh without a last name, when you don't have a company in doing business as, like if I was as an indie video game developer going to make anything, I would make a company name. I would fill out a little bit of paperwork. I wouldn't just call myself Josh and put that on Steam. It says it's a solo made video game. Like, I feel like Fox Mulder in the X-Files. I want to believe in time skip, but I know it's not true. I know it's just an asset flip. I know it's gonna be a disappointment. I don't really know, of course, but it certainly seems that way. Tragic Master came on the chat, said Shadow Walk is a fun card. I got it as my free legendary. Yep, I'm lucky. I don't know if I in the end liked any of the free legendaries that I ended up getting. I think I would much prefer that if they had gone back to like Whisper of the Old Gods, where everybody got Cthulhu. And everybody knew that everybody was going to get Cthulhu. And that would have been cool. And in a weird way, I guess I want to go back to Whisper of the Old Gods anyways. Is that was the last expansion that I guess has really caught my attention. And looked fun. Next game we have on Steam is called Super Sario Fly. So it seems like it's going for a spoof of Super Mario. It is $12.99 with no discount. And it looks like a platformer where you play as a pterodactyl and you're flying. But it also looks like it's Flappy Bird. So you're tapping a button or tapping on the screen to maintain your height when you're flying, which I'm not sure if that's the best thing. You're a pterodactyl in caveman times. Let's see. Take that. Attack here and attack here. Apparently there's a boss fight with a giant boxing dinosaur and a giant snake. But this looks animated well. While the name may be a goof, and while it may possibly have been a cell phone game being ported, there's original art here that looks decent. It doesn't look great. There's an original concept. Dinosaurs have kind of fallen out of favor for the most recent generation. They don't really have like Jurassic Park to fall onto or old dinosaur books. It doesn't have a third-party EULA for some reason, and it's too expensive for sure. And there's no reviews on it. But even at that, I'm still going to put this one on my follow list. That's an all-time list of 6 people playing it, and it came out the 12th. It says it has 16 funny levels. Let's see. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. 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 And then the turn. Apparently, unless I'm mistaken, this is Neil Patrick Harris was on one of the late night shows, the one with the fat guy, the fat maybe British guy, not the skinny British guy for sure, and he was talking about playing Myst and playing Abduction, which is slightly interesting, just to show that famous celebrities and actors are now we've hit that point where maybe politicians aren't young enough to have played games in their youth, but at least the young generation of actors and celebrities have. Gamma Sutra has an article. Nintendo is soliciting pitches from startups for innovative Switch tools and tech. So my guess is that they're trying to look for more things they can do, like the cardboard idea. Draw a card, gain armor, gain health. Like, this entire deck is built around having cards in your hand. Interesting. Yeah, I guess they feel like they need something new to the Switch, and I guess that would feed into the theory that a version 2.0 of the Switch might be closer than it probably should be. They're looking for things like Nintendo Labo, which is the cardboard, but they're also looking for people who are could do better with the motion tracking and the HD Rumble and the Joy-Cons and the tablet in general. Like, I think Nintendo is so addicted to the gimmick that they now just can't see past gimmicks in their consoles, and they feel like every single console has to have Wii joystick controls or something else in them, something that makes it stand out, when really if Nintendo just threw everybody for a loop and made a more powerful Xbox One or PlayStation 5 than what Microsoft or PlayStation could make, they could do quite a lot of amazing things. Like, I don't think developers would feel too bad if they jump ship from Sony and Microsoft and put all of their games on a Nintendo, if the Nintendo was powerful enough to play their games and look the best. But they're not interested in doing that, certainly. Let's see, so many of these pages say the exact same thing, and they're usually back to back too, which means I opened a tweet and then I opened another tweet right next to it. There's this game. Let's see, is there any information here about when this game is coming out? I think we've already talked about this game, and so this is just more information about it. Like, yeah, Code Princess EX slashes its way onto the Switch this summer, so no date. So I have no real reason to talk about Code Princess EX again. It is a weird looking game. Let's see, what do we want to do? Plus 1 attack. And plus 1 attack. And this. Should have played that first. Let's see, armor. And then armor. The Donkey Kong champ, or I guess to be more accurate, the now former Donkey Kong champ, Billy Mitchell, has had all of his high scores wiped after cheating evidence emerged. So, Twin Galaxies, as I understand it now, has completely just banned all of his scores. So his perfect Pac-Man score, Donkey Kong score, anything else. Let's see. Let's see. The quote is, Twin Galaxies has meticulously tested and investigated the dispute case assertions, as well as a number of relevant contingent factors, such as the veracity of the actual video performances that the dispute claim assertions rely on. In addition to Twin Galaxy's own investigation into the dispute case assertion, at least 2 different third parties conducted their own explorations and came to identical conclusions that he was cheating. Let's do this, and this. Like, this one won't die. This one. There we go. I could have attacked him for 1 damage there and I missed that. Most notable was the third party, Carlos Pinheiro, that Billy Mitchell engaged to help examine the disputed case on his behalf, utilized whatever original equipment Billy could provide, whose final finding was consistent with Twin Galaxies' investigation and others. While the use of emulated copies of the game is not enough to say Mitchell cheated, the discovery Mitchell was not using an official untampered Donkey Kong arcade machine is enough to see his scores excised. We now believe that they are not later down it says we are not, a few sentences down it says we now believe they are not from the original unmodified DKR cabinet, PCB, and so on. Investigation on the tape content ends with that conclusion and assertion. The thing here that I'm wondering is there something that a way to cheat in the old days without having emulation software, or was it just emulation software? Like, because when he got those scores, he was recording on VHS, so it's not like he would have had a brand new modern computer running emulation. It more feels like you would have had to cheat some other way, like soldering in something like a Game Genie. Not actually a Game Genie, but something similar to that. Onto a board. So this now, Twin Galaxy now says that Steve Wiebe was the first successful over 1 million score on Donkey Kong. First to post 1 million points on Donkey Kongs. But I don't even believe Steve Wiebe right now owns the record on Donkey Kong. He might not ever get it back either. But Billy Mitchell, I don't see how he comes back from this. I think he's through. And he's already threatening to sue people, so I wouldn't be surprised if he tries to expand down that realm. Let's see, if I do this, do I get excess mana? No. 2 damage to a minion. Now, this Your Gamer article doesn't seem to say that they took off his other scores, like his Pac-Man scores, but I'm pretty sure I saw that they did. But I doubt this will be the last we hear of Steve Wiebe too, because a good villain never truly goes away. It's half of this is really just wrestling drama in the speedrunning world and the high scores world. And in all honesty, you really can't trust any of the high scores on anything on any site. It's probably all cheating. Like, is there a way I could make this guy draw a bunch of cards? Could I heal? 1 damage and draw. Man, if I had one more mana, I could have done this, killed this, and then attacked and done that. But if he accidentally healed all his characters. Come on, heal yourself. Heal yourself. Oh, don't take the victory. Darn it. Rock Paper Shotgun has a review on Dead in Vineland. Is this game out yet? It looks kind of interesting. It's got a nice artistic style. Yeah, it's on Steam. So it came out April 12th. It's positive. 85% of 41 reviewers. It has an all-time peak of 924 players, which is really, really high. Like, really, really high. So this is, I guess, one not to miss. Oh, speaking of missing. We were doing Druid or Rogue. Well, I don't think we played Rogue once so far, so let's try Rogue. Not getting victories. Curse of Friday the 13th. Den Violent is 10% off for $17.99, but it looks so good. It's got a Metacritic rating of 78. Here's a negative review, just for fair. Like, don't get me wrong, the game is nice. The management is thought through. The story good and it's fun. The problem is the game is how events happen. This is the perfect example of a roguelike, yet the only random factor there is the order of exploration discoveries. Everything else, the dialogue where you find the shipwreck, the encounters, to all following a set order. That's horrible. If one of your characters dies at the start of the beginning, you have to listen to the same things and click and click and click. There's zero replay value in it, and worse, even before you finish the game, you get annoyed by having to go through the same things you already know. It feels more like an adventure game where you can die and have to restart again. And I'm not touching it anymore until there's a more random factor implemented. Interesting. But I'm not put off by that. The numbers are too high. 924 people at a single point have played this game since it came out the 12th, yesterday. So this is like the first big seller we've seen in quite a while. That being said, this also feels a lot like Darkest Dungeon, so I wouldn't be surprised if this is a big audience of Darkest Dungeon fans moving over finally from Darkest Dungeon to this. This game isn't early access, it's a finished product. That's got some points for it. So I'm going to put that in my wish list, but I already have Darkest Dungeon and haven't gotten around to playing that. Gamma Sutra has an article called Stick and Twist, Balancing Randomness and Strategy in Hearthstone. with the newest expansion, I'm not going to read this article, it's not that long, but with the newest expansion, there's not a lot of randomness in standard play. There's not even really too much randomness added to wild play because there weren't that many random cards added in Witchwood. So they're getting more and more to strategy, which they need something. They need something to increase the win ratio. Like, I would just think that whenever a player runs out of cards, it should just be a draw. At that point, both players win. Just so you can cheat. It takes so long for somebody to run out of cards anyways. Like, cheaters aren't going to play people and wait until 30 turns have happened, or even if you get it down to 15 turns, that's still a long game. Or maybe you do the penalty damage as it stands when you run out of cards, but when both players run out of cards, it becomes a draw. Maybe there would be some strategy there that would be interesting. But there needs to be some scenario where very frequently there are draws and both players win. And that way you get above the 50% and you could push people closer to 75% win ratio. The other thing is duration of games. Games are just really, really long compared to the daily quest you're giving me. Like, here we are, brand new expansion, started yesterday. First thing they gave every single player, win 10 standard games. That's way too much. Way too much. Let's hit this one. Next game we have on Steam is called Archer's Story. It's from a developer who hasn't made anything else. It's 99 cents. And it looks like a student project. It looks really bad. I don't know if you really need to say anything. 2 people played it in total. It includes 500 Steam achievements, so it's a Steam achievement game. Like, why do these games not get flagged? Like, it's so easy to write an algorithm. Do a MySQL searchable query language, or service query language is what SQL stands for. Something query language. Do a MySQL or an SQL of some language in your database and search all the games that are brand new that have one developer that have over 30 achievements, and immediately put those up for review. Start kicking those games off or not allow them in the first place. Like, Steam Direct should limit the number of achievements you could get. It already limits the number of trading cards. They should have known that as soon as they started limiting trading cards, the next thing people were going to already was achievements. So there should be red flags going off, stopping these games from getting approved. If anybody was looking at any of the games, these things wouldn't be approved. Next game we have is called Solace, S-O-L-A-S. Is that how you spell Solace, or is that just a made-up word? And the rest of the name of the game is And the White Winter. So, extra attack. Let's just keep on attacking this, I guess. Let's see, 2 user reviews. This came out the 13th. Now, this is yet another game that has some bad screenshots. It seems like a very smooth 3D game. I'm looking at a 3D character that's actually animated kind of nicely. They look like a cloth doll missing a face. Like, there's just no facial features at all. But I can't immediately reject this, and I can't immediately say it's an asset flip. Has an all-time peak of 4 people playing it. Seems to have a bunch of different people made it. Let's see. And this is the first game by this developer for $9.99. You know, and this game looks weird enough that I might suggest it. Let's see, here's a recommended review. A really great game with clever and challenging puzzles. Love the mysterious and haunting storyline, and the music fits perfectly. Do we have any negative reviews? No, it's just 4 positive ones. And one of them is in Russian. I can't immediately reject this game, so I have to put it in my wish list. It looks good. It looks like it's actually a game. Which is so many times better than most games on Steam. This might just be a 2-hour game where you're walking around solving some puzzles, but even in that, it seems like it would look pretty good. Or this is the type of game and type of animation that somebody slightly lazier would have just turned into a dungeon crawler, and because they didn't do that, I'm happy. I'd much prefer puzzles and adventure over dungeon crawler. Next game we have is called Dead Ground Arena, from somebody who made a game called Dead Ground Z, both of which are VR games. We haven't had any VR games so far. We've nearly done an entire stream and not run into any VR games. This is your standard stand in one place shooting at zombies. I will say this Dead Ground Arena looks like, even if it is a bunch of asset flips with zombies, it at the very least is doing a better job than what I've seen before. Let's go ahead and play this. And go ahead and kill that. Like, looks like consistent graphics and decently looking animated zombies, and an interface. Has an all-time peak of 3 people playing it. Early access. It came out today. Requires VR. 34% off for $9.89. Let's see. One negative review here is the only thing that's coming up, and it's somebody saying the game just doesn't work for them. So that might be an issue, certainly. So it looks good. If maybe it doesn't play at all. Let's see. We want this, and this, and this, and that, and in return. But yeah, I guess I would never play Dead Ground Arena. It's probably the best looking standard one-place shooter zombies VR game I've seen so far, but that's not saying a lot, and I still can't really recommend it. Let's see, do we have somebody on the chat? We have somebody new called Ratfink said, great ploy by Blizzard to get people to spend money on cards, because now I can't win any ranked matches because my cards are all wild now. You hit the head of the nail with the hammer there. Whatever that saying is, you're absolutely right. I am having the exact same experience. Like, all of my good decks wild now. So the thing here also is, even if you bought the new cards, you're still probably not going to do too well in ranked, because you're not going to be playing with a strategic method in mind with the new cards, because there's no real synergy with the new cards. The new cards makes standard play incredibly simplistic and incredibly boring. Like, as far as I can tell. You're just going to look at the meta rankings and say, is this card a higher value than this card? And whatever card has higher values on those statistic sites, that's the card you're going to play. And it's only going to have a slightly higher value because it's going to do 3 damage instead of 2. And that's just going to be it. You're not going to see any crazy strategies. The right solution, and it's stupid to say it, particularly on my European and Asian accounts, which are less than a year old, but the right solution, I think, is for everybody to move over to Wild. Like, I think that's what we're gonna have to do, is play Wild, and only Wild, just to keep those cards playable. Next article we have here from Gamatsu, Dead or Alive Extreme Venus Vacation Tamiki trailer. Another character joins the summer fun for Dead or Alive Extreme. Is Dead or Alive Extreme coming to the West, or did they finally just say that wasn't, they weren't going to bring them to the West anymore? Says Dead or Alive Extreme Venus Vacation is now available on PC via the DMM game portal in Japan. So yeah, it's not available in the West, and I don't think they really have an intention of bringing it to the West, which is a shame. Like, if there was one thing we could always look forward to, it was another Dead or Alive Extreme showing off the plot, as anime fans joke. And there's a real reason. I've made this rant before, but there is a very, very good reason these Dead or Alive Extreme games get made, and it's simply because it improves the body physics, the skin lighting and animation physics, the hair physics, the cloth physics, the lighting physics of a game. You improve the looks of the Dead or Alive fighting game by having a year off and making the stupid relaxing on the beach, playing volleyball, doing photo shoots, girls in bikinis stuff. And that's why Dead or Alive looks good. It gets better and better. So yeah, I guess you're never gonna get to see Tamiki trailer. I mean, you could go look it up. It's fine. Moving on. Next game we have on Steam is called Blacksmith. It's the first game from this developer, $9.99 with nothing on discount. Attack here, play that, play this in the turn. So, Blacksmith is a game where you play as a blacksmith. The graphics look like they are drawn in MS Paint, and I don't know if this is supposed to be a joke that they're drawn this way or not. I think it's not supposed to be a joke. I think it's just bad skill. Yeah. Okay, here's like a Naruto clone. So yeah, this feels like, honestly, it doesn't even look MS Paint. It looks like it's a high schooler drawing in their notebook, and then somebody just scanned their high school drawings into a game. And the gameplay itself doesn't look great. So if you were going to do a joke of bad graphics, which is probably a terrible thought, let's see. Whenever this minion takes damage, deal 3 to your hero. Let's get this one. first. Like, yeah, if you were gonna play a joke like that, the interface would have to look gorgeous. Everything else would have to look gorgeous. It would have to be like South Park, where South Park looks silly, but is actually done with a lot of care and powerful computers. Right. How are we gonna do this? This does 3, and this does 3. So yeah, I can't recommend Blacksmith. PC Gamer has an article. Warcraft 3 goes widescreen with a new update. The 1.29 patch hit the PTR in February. That hit the PTR in February is now out in the wild. So widescreen Warcraft 3. I never played Warcraft 3, but like I would like to go back and play Warcraft 1. Alright, so now I just need to play Shaman cards, and post-show almost certainly is going to be required to get all of these 7 remaining victories done. So, before I look at Battlecry, let's look at Battlecry Shaman and just see how many Shaman cards there are, because I don't see a real reason to play this if it isn't almost all Shaman cards, and it isn't. So I'm just gonna make a Shaman deck. Shaman deck here, like this, and let's try to avoid anything with overload in it, so that we have enough cards to we have enough mana to play the cards. There we go. Custom Shaman deck. And since we're just going to play Custom Shaman and not care about it, we might as well just play on ranked. If we get a victory, good. If we don't, who cares? I guess people professionally play Warcraft against each other. I didn't realize that was still going on. I knew people were still playing StarCraft against each other. And certainly like Dota and things like that, League of Legends, maybe Heroes of the Storm, but I thought that was pretty much it until you start getting into games more like Overwatch. Yeah, let's just hold on to all these cards. Let's see, the game Dauntless has an open beta that begins in May. 700,000 people have signed up for the open beta so far. How many people want to play open betas of games? It seems really ridiculous. Let's see. Dauntless is a co-op action RPG, turning giant monsters into stylish hats. Let me watch the trailer. Like, Dauntless, I think, does catch my attention a little bit. Yeah, it looks like it's Monster Hunter with some of the elements of Monster Hunter taken out, which might be a good thing. Of course, Dragon Scale was also Monster Hunter with some of the monster elements taken out that were too complicated, and Dragon Scale didn't finish production. And I wonder, with the vast success of Monster Hunter, has it been proven that that was the right move? And perhaps there only is enough room in the world for Monster Hunter and no Monster Hunter clones. Let's see. Maybe if you could play Dauntless by yourself, I would play it. Like, if you can play a single player version of that and have somewhat of a decent experience, that would catch my attention. But trying to make groups work together is certainly not going to be a good solution for me. Let's see, freeze. And play. And do we have anything we want to do? Let's see. Repeatable this turn. So is unstable evolution, does that mean I can echo this card? I'm gonna wait till next turn and see what happens if, on that. There's a terrible, it looks like a Chinese company that has several programs on Steam called Natural Landscape, one word, and then a subtitle. So Natural Landscape Grand Canyon came out April 12th. It looks like all their other games with just a slightly different location. It's a VR experience that like feels like it may have been internally developed for something completely different, like a amusement park, and they're just trying to recoup their money. Alright, so let's see. If I transform this, it is repeatable. It's an echo card. So why is there an echo card in this new expansion that doesn't even have echo in the name? They didn't even use the right phrasing. That is crazy. They get rid of enrage as a key phrase, which makes it impossible to make a enrage deck, and then they add an echo card that doesn't have echo in it. Natural Landscapes Grand Canyon is $8.99, requires VR. It looks kind of nice for the screenshots, but I bet it's just a sitting experience that doesn't look that good in VR. There is this VRQ test on Steam. I believe this is free. That is really just designed to let you test your VR system and make sure it's working correctly and you've got it configured right. So, I mean, it's probably not an official test, and so it may be telling you the wrong information. It says, in 180 seconds, you'll experience 5 different kinds of dizziness tests, which becomes harder with the testing time. When you feel dizzy, the program should stop and your VRQ rank will give you an accordance. The rank is 1 to 3 stars. More stars means better sensitivity to VR and much easier for you to accept it. Okay. Deal 1 damage to a character and freeze it. So yeah, like, try VRQs to see how dizzy you get. This is an older article. I'm going through some of my leftover news from Monday and Wednesday. The Overwatch League says that Dreamcast jerseys can now reportedly be exchanged. Merch from the disgraced Boston Uprising player is no longer in demand. So that they... I don't even remember what the story is. There's been so many stories. This is a PC Gamer story, by the way. If anybody is wondering, it's pretty obvious because they're doing all these stories. I don't know what Dreamcasper did, but people are mad at him. They fired him. These Overwatch leaks want you to be squeaky clean and the best esports player in the world, and those are just contradictory things. In the same way that football players aren't perfect people, and yet we tolerate them. But if you don't want your jersey anymore, apparently you can get it returned. I bet they don't want people wearing those jerseys to events either. Let's see. Tragic Master says, Unstable Evolution was from the last set It was the Echo Beta smiley face. Okay, so fair enough, but then they told me they changed 3 other cards when the Year of the Raven transferred over. So why didn't they bother to say, hey, while we're at it, why don't we convert this phrasing to the new definition? King of Fighters 14 version 3.0 update now available if anyone is interested. I guess like King of Fighters feels like it is the 3rd tier of the fighting games. Always. Let's see. Gamma Sutra has an article. Microsoft and other game companies win out in camera patent lawsuit. A federal court has denied Australian innovator Richard J. Baker's appeal of the ruling made in a patent infringement lawsuit he filed in Washington State last January against Microsoft, Nintendo, Ubisoft, and other game companies. I assume this is for the Kinect and similar things. Like Nintendo didn't even have a Kinect. All they had was a very small camera in the Wiimotes, and the bar on top of the screen was just an IR transmitter. Baker alleged that the company's products were infringing on his patent for an instructional device that crucially relies on a camera capturing visuals and transmitting those visuals to a remote computer, much like, say, a Kinect, which isn't even that true. So, like, unless you're arguing that the Kinect was sending all of its data back to a server somewhere, it was a peripheral sending device information to a connected computer, not a remote computer. Let's see, a couple of One Piece screenshots came out for One Piece World Seeker Joma 66 and Vin Smoker family. I guess these are names of characters in One Piece. Like, I assume these 2 One Piece games are going to come out. It's the One Piece World Seeker is due for the PS4, Xbox One, and PC worldwide in 2018. Let's see. One more rank to win to get that season chest. I may have to struggle just to get the season chest, come to think of it. But we're playing those cards, and that's all it needed to. The other game is One Piece Grand Cruise, launches May 22nd in Americas and Europe. It's for PlayStation VR in the PlayStation Store only. Let's see. Tragic Master says Unstable is a little different than Echo cards mechanically. It behaves differently with cost reductions and such. I think there's probably a way you could phrase it, though, to be an Echo card. Tragic Master is becoming the resident expert in Hearthstone, as I'm becoming the resident idiot in Hearthstone because they're adding more cards and I'm not willing to learn the current ones. There's a game called Chrono Magao. It's Chrono CHRONO space MA:GIA, now available worldwide. It is a iOS and Google Play card game. What kind of card game though? From Gung Ho Online Entertainment. Original competitive card game from the Gung Ho character, skill, and card variety. Really would have. Let's just go to their official website and see what it looks like. Gameplay video available. Let's watch what the gameplay looks like. Best card game. Oh, it's a collectible card game of some sort. Looks like it's a rather complicated one with some Final Fantasy-esque anime characters, but not too many of them to start off with. Well, I don't think I could decide to get into that. Moving on. There's a game called Zombie Grenades Practice on Steam. Came out April 10th. It's one of 4 VR games made by this developer. No discount. $12.99. And let's see what this looks like. 4 videos before the screenshots. All the screenshots very dark at the bottom. It doesn't look too interesting. It looks pretty well animated. Let's see. Do we have any reviews? 15 positive reviews, no negative reviews. It's kind of suspicious. Let's do this. End the turn, I guess. I guess the reason they had 4 videos at the front before the screenshots is because they really wanted you to watch the videos in action. Seems like you're mostly in a small area and then you're just gonna throw grenades. So it's a VR throw things with some random zombies standing around. They don't even seem like the zombies are coming towards you. And the camera is really flying around, so it might be that you're on rails flying around as a character, as a camera, or maybe you're playing through like a drone, because I'm seeing some pictures of a drone. And well, this doesn't look bad. It actually doesn't seem like it has much of a gameplay mechanic to it. And if you are just throwing grenades all the time, that would be hard on your wrists and your shoulder, throwing grenades in VR. We have a PC Gamer article. Australian Call of Duty tournament cancelled following complaints. It was set to take place in a RSL, whatever an RSL is. When it comes to obvious places to host a Call of Duty tournaments, an RSL club is probably wouldn't place highly on that list. The Returned and Services League of Australia is, after all, an organization which supports those who have served the Australian Defence Force. So they were going to have a tournament inside of a veterans club, effectively. And I could see why people might complain about that. I guess people should have thought that through, but I wouldn't also be surprised if maybe the tournament had thought that through. Like here later in this argument, the Castle Hill RSL president said he hadn't heard any complaints directly. So for all you know, the members of the RSL wanted the tournament there. Like, it is possible. Like, it's not unheard of for some veterans to play military games, although it has been some instances where veterans don't like to play military games because it brings up bad memories or triggers PTSD. But also, some video games help with PTSD because they can experience and work through their emotions in a safe environment with a less than realistic equivalent. And they have been treating people with PTSD with video games. There's a game called Hoto Togisu Tyran 1553 Ryuko Atsu. It launches April 26th in Japan. It looks like it's going to be it's a Nintendo Switch eShop game. It won't come to the West. It seems like it's a tile-based strategy game, so I didn't really need to cover that. There's this co-op puzzler. PC Gamer has this article. This co-op puzzler has two players navigate cliffs while tied together with rope. It's called Right of Ilk, or Lick. I guess it's Ilk. ILK. And there's a all bright red-skinned girl and a all bright blue-skinned boy, and they're supposed to be these two tribes of, I guess, somewhat similar species but slightly different, and they both are wearing masks so they don't have to animate the faces, and they're tied together at the hip, and that becomes a gameplay mechanic, kind of like the game A Tale of Two Sons. There was a point where they were both tied together. They've expanded out on there. What's interesting about this is that it kind of goes to show you how long it takes you to rip off an idea, that somebody is ripping off A Tale of Two Sons right as the creator of A Tale of Two Sons just released No Way Out, which was his next game. Rydo Ilk comes out in the summer of 2019, so it's a little too early to be talking about it, but it has a nice trailer. So one of the few games that's really got me hyped. They've convinced me to be a little bit hyped. However, I'll forget all about it almost certainly by the time it does come out, and I'll be like, oh yeah, I remember this game. It seems like the reason why these two are tied together is that every so often the two tribes send members, one child member from each of their tribe, to do this rite of passage to learn together, to work together. Theoretically, it might be training for them to be the new leaders of their tribes. Something like that. There's a game on Steam called Tetrapank. And what is it? It is Tetris inside of a lot of garbage around it. So there's a square of Tetris, but then it's inside a round metallic girder, which is surrounded by a bunch of transformers and garbage. Just assets that have been flipped. It's almost is this a VR game? No, it's not. So I have no idea why you would make your Tetris game like this instead of just making Tetris. It's what a stupid way to make a Tetris game. It's from a developer who's made some other things. It's 40% off for 59 cents, but it's by far the worst looking Tetris game I've ever seen. And that's saying a lot because you don't have to do a lot to make a Tetris game. Next game on Steam is called Charlotte. Let's see, it's free, so I guess I don't really have to say anything. Came out April 9th. I think the reason why I wanted this is because it's a horror-esque walkthrough game. It has all-time peak of 13 players. It's a free-to-play simulation adventure. Charlotte is a horror puzzle walking sim based on the short story The Yellow Wallpaper. So yeah, I guess I'm gonna put this on my follow list even though it's free. We have a game called Twilight Phenomena, The Incredible Show Collector's Edition. This is almost certainly a hidden object game. It's being published by Big Fish Games, which floods Steam with hidden object games, and people buy them, including me, but I don't pay the full price, certainly. They want $12.99 for this game. I can tell you it's not worth that, and that's why there's no reviews for it, and it has an all-time high of one person playing it since it came out on April 9th. We have a game called Rethink Evolve 2, which it looks like it is a puzzle game of some sort that you could actually really sink your teeth into. Came out April 9th. It's from a developer who made Rethink Evolved, and all of those are rated high. Has an all-time peak of 5 people. It's 10% off for $8.99. So it's too expensive. If you bought the bundle of all 3 games, you'd be paying $23.10. It has like 40 puzzles. Let's see, do we have any negative reviews? No, just 2 positive reviews, and both of which were given for free. And see, this is crazy because this looks good, and I know it looks good because it's very likely a lot of this is just asset flips, but they're combined well. They look nice. It kind of looks like Mirror's Edge. Let's just go ahead and keep on damaging this. It's a light puzzle bending game in a 3D environment. We've got a game called Russian Peace Duck that is an asset flip. You're playing a duck that is jumping over spikes and dodging under flames. Yep, it's an asset flip. This game is. Peak of 12 people for 30% off for 69 cents. No positive, 6 positive, no negative reviews. Alright, so we can full on transform this up. So this, and then 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 this, 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 and this. So like a full 10 mana, 11 mana minion. Yeah, we already talked about Lobotomy Corporation. There's a game called The Spy Who Shot Me. It looks awful. Let's see. Looks like it's from a developer who's made several kind of awful looking game. The Spy Who Shot Me looks like the equivalent of what GoldenEye 64 would have looked like. So if this was a mid-80s and you made a game like this, this probably would have sold pretty decently. But since it's early access and brand new and they want $7.91 right now with 12% off, I don't see any reason why anybody would buy this. Even if it does have 7 positive reviews somehow. I'll take victories if I can get them. Let's see. There's a game called Utawa Rumono Chiriyuki Mono Hino Komo Vituka. I'm not even gonna try to spell that. It's for the PS4 and Vita. Coming out April 26th in Japan. If it does come out in the West, it's gonna get a different name. Certainly, looks like it may be of a quality that could come out. Certainly. There we go. We'll take victory. It's a remake of a previous version of that game. Hey, look at that. Rank 23. And we've got 4 victories now on this quest. So let's just switch over to the Americas account. Like, I think I'm gonna have to probably play tomorrow, and I'm not even gonna stream it because it would just be all silent post show at the very beginning. Because I need to rest my voice. I think I've been streaming every day this week, if not every day, nearly every day. Here's an interesting game. It's called Muso Mano, Ataque dos Haters. But then in the description, it is... See, I need to get a Druid or Rogue victory. Do we have a Druid or Rogue deck we can play? Nope. Well, we do have some wild ones we could probably play. A lot of these were things I made myself. So let's try this. It says Maso Mano Attack of the Haters is a platform adventure game based on the classic of 1990s in 3D graphics, featured by the Brazilian rapper and YouTuber Muso Mano. In the game, an evil hater has stolen Muso Mano's 1 million subscribers YouTube award, the Golden Play button. Is this a real YouTuber? Is this a YouTuber has commissioned, a Brazilian YouTuber has commissioned a platforming game and actually made a good looking platform game? Because if this Brazilian YouTuber has accomplished that, that is more than what you can say for Angry Video Game, you know, and PewDiePie and several other characters that have done this. Because this game doesn't look bad at all. It's early access and it's $5. And it seems like it's a stupid idea. And it seems like this is probably a troll game, but it looks good. And I can't ignore the fact that this looks good. It's a Unity game, certainly. Let's just go ahead and play that. But it looks like it will work. And we already, I think, talked about the Humble Strategy bundle. So, yeah, I'm on the Humble store. So this will be our last game. And you know, I'm not even gonna do a post show. I've just decided. I'm just gonna take it easy. I'm just gonna play without anybody looking over my shoulder. Apologies, but there's plenty of other videos. Also, I need to upload videos, so it makes sense for me to take a break on my bandwidth and do all and just upload what I recorded and streamed yesterday instead of doing a silent post show and cheating a little bit on the Americas account. If Tragic Master is still on, which he probably is, I'm going to take a little bit of a break, but then if he sees me online and wants to challenge me, I'm more than willing to play him. And I think I'm good with the news. In fact, to be honest, I gotta take a break, a bathroom break right now, so I'm just gonna concede. Like, I hate admitting that as you're streaming, but I'm just gonna end this here. So we've done all the news, and we've got a lot of victories we need to do, and we need to get at least one of these done. A Druid and Rogue victory should be easy enough. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. If you want to support me even further, get me a game on Steam. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.